sure are glad you're here tonight. Before we call our meeting to order, I'm going to invite Mark Julian up. Mark is with Northside Baptist Church, and he's going to lead us in our invocation. Mark?
Let's pray. Heavenly Father God, we trust you today for your goodness, your mercy, and your grace. God, we can't thank you enough for your hand and blessing on our lives. Thank you for the city. Thank you for this council. Thank you that we're part of a country that we can still be thankful that it belongs to you. God, would you bless the decisions made today? And Lord, continue to show us your love, your faithfulness, your goodness. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you again, Mr. Julian. We appreciate you. We'll wait for the clock to strike 6 p.m. and then we'll call the meeting to order. Please stand by. Alrighty, at 6 p.m., I'm going to call to order the June 9th, 2026 City Council meeting for the City of Weatherford and announce we do have a quorum present. All council members are present and accounted for. Thank you all for your service. Item 3 on the agenda is pledges of allegiance to the United States and Texas flags will be led this evening by Council Member Rod White. Thank you for that, sir. We appreciate you leading us in the pledges. Item 4 on the agenda is items of community interest. Aaron Spicer, welcome.
Mayor and Council, Weatherford's summer calendar is officially doing the most. Between rodeo, snow cones, summer reading, and city departments teaming up like the Avengers in work boots, there's plenty to celebrate tonight. I'm pleased to share that the boil water notice for parts of Weatherford has been lifted. Crews are continuing to complete repairs to the water line, but the required testing has been completed, and customers in the affected area are no longer need to boil water. We want to recognize the many city staff who worked long hours over the last few days to make repairs, monitor the system, answer questions, send notifications, and support the residents. Their work often happens behind the scenes, but their dedication has been felt. And Saddle Up Weatherford, the 79th Annual Parker County Sheriff's Posse Frontier Days and PRCA Rodeo kicks off tonight. The rodeo starts with extreme bulls, Gage Gardner live on stage, and enough rodeo action to make your hat spin. The fun continues through June 13th, so you've got multiple chances to experience the tradition. And Weatherford continues its quiet rise as a supporting character in Taylor Sheridan's universe. The new series Dutton Ranch is only 5 episodes in, and Weatherford has already made a few familiar appearances. Viewers have spotted scenes at Lake Weatherford, Hamilton Meets, and even a character wearing a Teskey's ball cap. It's always fun to see our community show up on the screen, and even more fun when residents can point to the TV and say, "Hey, I know that place." Congratulations goes out to Battalion Chief Steve Cox on completing his 2nd year in the Texas Fire Chiefs Academy and graduating with his Certified Fire Executive designation. This achievement reflects his continued commitment to professional development, leadership, and service to the Weatherford community. And Weatherford Police will be hosting their first Chill with WPD event of the summer tomorrow at Cherry Park. Kids can enjoy free Funky Monkey snow cone, play some games, and spend some time getting to know Weatherford police officers. One of my favorite parts of summer, shaved ice and sticky fingers. And the Weatherford Public Library hosted its biggest summer reading kickoff yet with a great turnout from families ready to dig into summer reading. A big thank you to the facilities, water, and fire departments for helping with the event, providing a hydration station, running a fossil dig, and twisting balloon animals. It was a great example of city departments working together and proof that when it comes to reading, Weatherford is anything but extinct. And as always, for details on these events and more going on around town, visit experienceweatherford.com.
Right, before we move on, comment on the Sheriff's Posse Rodeo this week. Of course, the Parker County Sheriff's Posse puts on that event, which y'all heard about at the last meeting. But also want to point out, I know several staff members are involved in the Weatherford Noon Lions Club, and specifically 2 council members are involved in the Weatherford Lions Club that handles all the concessions at that event. And Mayor Pro Tem Zach Smith, Councilmember Luke Williams will be out there every night other than tonight. Thank you for being here, by the way. But Mayor Pro Tem, can you give us kind of a rundown of how many burgers do we serve out there a week? Or y'all hot dogs? I mean, people, I don't think they have any idea how much food is prepared by groups of volunteers and sold to the public.
You bet. The Weatherford Noon Lions Club will serve about 4,500 hamburgers, just about 2,000 dogs, 700 or 800 corny dogs, and lots of the other extras that go with it.
Sure. And the profits that organization makes on that event for that week go to?
Yeah, you bet. That's what funds anything that the Lions Club sponsors every year.
Sure. I want to point out that to our community that the staff members that work for the city of Weatherford serve in our community, and your council members that are serving here tonight are also serving the community. Do you want to add any comments, sir?
Nope, all those funds from Weatherford and Lions Club stay in Parker County.
Yeah,
So,
fantastic.
all right here.
So, Mr.
I'm pretty sure Councilman Smith grows out his mustache every year just to grill those burgers, so just to make sure everybody's aware.
I don't know if you're working on the grill or not, but that thing's a fire hazard. Chief Peacock, we need to, make sure that Ansel system's working over there. Mr. O'Top, do you have anything to add?
I do not.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, just a question. I know that some citizens experienced an issue this week with our water line, and grateful to all of our citizens for that. But Mr. Hotop, could you remind maybe our citizens of how they sign up for emergency alerts, or how we communicate with citizens through those? Obviously, we saw everything on social media and everything, but there is a system for text and phone calls as well. Just want to make sure our citizens are aware of that.
That's a great point. So on our website, on the main page, there's a spot to sign up for emergency communications, and you can get text or calls on those, either one. And so it's real easy. Just put your phone number and your name, and you can receive any of those.
Yeah, it's really important that they actually have to take the initiative to do that. It's not something that we just turn around and reach out to them without them signing up for that. So just
That's
want to
correct, yeah. As you would expect, a lot of people don't want, even under certain circumstances, unwarranted calls and things like that. So it's a voluntary system that people have to sign up for.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. Mr. O'Top, thanks for sharing that information. Any items of community interest from council? Anything else? All righty. Let's shift down to item 5, which is presentations and proclamations. 5A is a proclamation declaring the month of June as Fidelity Month in the city of Weatherford. Councilmember Matt Tiskus is going to do that proclamation, and Council City Manager is joining down there.
All right, I'm excited to share this proclamation with our citizens. Whereas recent opinion polls have revealed a decline in support for traditional American values such as faith, family, patriotism, and community involvement, principles once widely regarded as essential and unifying, and whereas this decline has coincided with increases in crime, drug abuse, social alienation, and the breakdown of family structures, and whereas fidelity, defined as steadfast commitment to one's faith, family, spouse, country, and community, it's a vital virtue that fosters personal responsibility, social harmony, and national strength. And whereas citizens of all faiths and backgrounds can unite in renewing their dedication to these shared values which promote the common good. And whereas founding father John Adams stated, "Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other." And whereas the enduring strength of our country depends on the shared bonds of faith, family, and patriotism, and it is both appropriate and necessary to dedicate time each year to reflect upon and recommit ourselves to these foundational values. Now, therefore, Paul Pascal, Mayor of the City of Weatherford, Texas, on behalf of the City Council and our citizens, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2026 as Fidelity Month in the city of Weatherford and encourage all residents to observe this month by rededicating themselves to the values of faith, family, patriotism, and community engagement. And I just want to share just a couple of quick thoughts on this. I think it's really important that we take a moment and reflect on just what it means, what fidelity means. And it's really just faithfulness when things are challenging and unpopular. And I think if you look at that quote from our second president, John Adams, where he said, "Our Constitution was made for a moral and religious people, and it's wholly inadequate to the government of any other." I think that underscores the fact that there's a lot of wisdom in what our founding fathers knew and what they expected from us as citizens, even today. And as we think about our 250th birthday of our country, which is an incredible time, I think it's appropriate for us to think about this idea of fidelity. The problem is that 39% of Americans say religion is important, only 38% say patriotism is important, only 30% say having children is important, only 27% say community involvement is important. But these are the foundations of a healthy and flourishing society. And so as a council, we just want to challenge our citizens to recommit ourselves to be a beacon of hope for others. We need people that our children can look up to, and we need to be that as adults. And in Weatherford, Texas, we believe in fidelity, and we believe in being faithful to our God, to our spouse, to our family, to our children, and to our community. So thanks for listening, and thank you, Mayor and Council, for sharing this commitment to Fidelity Month. I appreciate it.
Item 6 on the agenda is approval of minutes. 6A is to consider approval of the minutes of the City Council meeting held May 26, 2026. So motion for approval by Luke Williams, second provided by Mayor Pro Tem Zach Smith. Any discussion or corrections before I call for a vote on the item? Seeing none, let's vote on the minutes. Minutes pass with one recusal. We'll shift down to item 7, Council, which is consent agenda items. We have items 7A through 7F. We can entertain these as a group, or if there's something you'd like to split off and discuss individually, let that be known at this time. Be happy to entertain a motion if that's your pleasure.
I'll make a motion for the body.
Councilmember Matt Tiskus makes a motion for approval of the body as presented.
I'll second,
Luke Williams provides that second. Is there any discussion or corrections, conversations on the items before I call for a vote? Hearing none, we'll vote on the consent items as a body. Please indicate yea or nay on your touch screens at this time. And those items all pass. Thank you for your input on that. Item 8 on the agenda is regular agenda items. 8A is considered discontinuation of the Facade Improvement Grant Program for the Central Business District. Welcome, Assistant City Manager Chad Marbutt.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Council. Chad Marbutt, Assistant City Manager. So the Facade Improvement Grant Program was established in 2021. It was established to encourage preservation and enhancement of properties in the Central Business District. Since its inception, 27 grants have been approved, and those total over $650,000 of public investment. To this date, private reinvestment is now occurring organically without grant incentives, and the program has achieved its goal. Council directed staff in April to honor the pending applications in the order they were received, up to $33,000 of remaining funds, and then to bring forward to consider discontinuing the program. The FY26 budget for this program was $200,000. 7 grants total were awarded for a total of $191,000, leaving $9,000 remaining. Staff will return in the future with a recommendation on what to do with those remaining funds, but the action before you tonight is to discontinue the program. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you for that information, council. Any questions, comments, or is there a motion? Excuse me, council. We do have a speaker card on the item. Thank you, Madam Secretary, for reminding me on that. Jackie Fowler. I did not do that on purpose, Mr. Fowler. I apologize. Welcome this evening. Once you get settled up there, if we can have your name and address for the record, then you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Jackie Fowler, 400 Thompson Road, Weatherford, Texas. I've had the privilege to work on multiple buildings in the downtown area, and I've spoken with some of you council people and Chad as well. And I think it's a vital thing for our downtown business district. I had 2 buildings that were on the docket this last time that didn't get approved. That same client owns multiple buildings down through there and would love the opportunity to, update all the facades down there, which desperately need it bad. If you really walk through and look, they're kind of dilapidated in some areas and things such as that. I think it would beautify the area a tremendous amount, especially on the York Avenue where I've done most of my buildings at. And to where we could get the same seamless look down through there, like the awnings and things such as that I think are needed. And I've spoke with other people that, I'm willing to, answer any questions or, help in any way of planning things that I can. But I think it is vital that we keep the program going. I think there are some things that need to be readjusted to, to make it more fair amongst everybody that's in the downtown area. And the client that I have that I'm currently speaking about, she would love to redo the rest of them, and it does help to have that extra money that comes from the city side of things. That does help to initiate the start of those on the bigger projects. Some of them are like, maybe 10 grand to do them, in which, that doesn't require city funds, but others are very expensive to do, a lot of building. So I think it is important to keep the facade program rolling. Thank you.
Mr. Fowler, we appreciate you being here. Thank you so
Yes,
much
sir.
for your thoughts. Do not have any other speaker cards on the item. Ms. Baber, this is not a public hearing. I don't have the speaker card. I'm sorry. Do not have any more speaker cards on the item at this time. Council, any questions, conversations? What's your pleasure? I have a comment on the facade program. I think when this program was developed, it was developed as a seasonal program with, to be a stimulant of sort for people to reinvest in properties that they already own. My personal position on this is every time we have awarded facade grants, we've had a lot more angry people than we've had thank yous. And we have altered the rules and the guidelines and the parameters several times. This has come down to me of no good deed goes uncriticized, and so I would be more inclined at this point to terminate the program, and let's see what investors in downtown do with their own dollars. We've invested an immense amount of money, not only in the facade improvement grant. We've redone 3 of the 4 quadrants downtown, and it's made a marked difference. But I believe there are other areas in our city that could use these funds, and feel like it's just something we need to discuss as a council.
Mayor, I have a question for staff, if we could. Historically, we've operated in the form of these facades, not historically, but the last few years. Am I correct in thinking that there still is an economic development application opportunity in the form of a 380 for these projects in the future? Just because the facade improvement grant in this sense is going away, and what we've done historically, there's still opportunities for citizens or landlords or property owners to come to the city to request something.
Certainly. So you're correct. Through the 380 agreement and then other options we have too legally, economic development opportunities for participation incentives, they'll still exist.
Okay. Just wanted to follow through on that.
Essentially, they would have the same tools available to them that the remainder of the city business owners and building owners have had while this special program has existed for our CBD. It
Yes,
would
sir.
level the playing field for all business owners and property owners in the city of Weatherford.
You're correct.
It's worth noting, there's just a little bit different analysis on the 380 versus the facade. The 380, there's a look at return on investment and some other business aspects that we look at. If there's an investment by the city, then what does that create in return, versus the straight facade program was just a clear, you qualify for and you're eligible for certain rebates to come back to you for eligible expenses. So,
Clarification. Thank you, sir.
Good question. Glad you asked it. Anybody else? Member Tiskus, Mayor Pro Tem? Mr. White? Okay. Council, do you have a desire to take action on this item? Now's your opportunity to make a motion. I'll make a motion to cease. Motion on the floor by Councilmember White to accept staff recommendation to cease the program. Luke Williams has provided the second on the item. Council, we can still have more discussion on the item or ask staff questions if that's your pleasure. Hearing none, we'll call for a vote on item 8A, and the motion is to cease the program. Please indicate yea or nay on your touch screens. The item passes. 8B on the agenda is consider authorizing the city manager to execute Amendment 1 with Half Associates for additional professional services for the Front Street Drainage Improvements Project in an amount not to exceed $18,600 for a total contract amount of $250,100. Mr. Matt Lepla, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council. The amendment before you for consideration is for the Front Street Drainage Project that was approved for construction at the January 27th meeting. The project location is at the intersection of North Elm and Front Street in the northeast part of Weatherford. This project includes the installation of 400 linear feet of 10-foot by 5-foot concrete box culvert to replace a dilapidated underside and failing drainage system. The improvements were designed to convey the 100-year storm event and provide increased protection for the upstream properties and public infrastructure. The primary easement for this work was dedicated by the property owner at no cost, ensuring the improvements are within a public easement. The majority of the work is now complete with the new system fully installed. This final 400 linear feet serves as the downstream conveyance for approximately 140 acres of drainage area on the northeast side of town. This amendment to the contract with Half Associates is related to a request for additional information from the Texas Historical Commission. The THC permit was issued for construction and the project remains on schedule. However, THC is requiring additional field survey work to perform concurrent with ongoing construction. Due to the proximity of a nearby cemetery and the historical mapping indicating property limits near the project area, the Commission has requested supplemental field verification. The original contract with Half Associates was approved by City Council for $231,500. This amendment, number 1, is for $18,600, bringing the contract amount to $250,100. As said before, this project is now substantially complete. We are currently awaiting installation of railing and some other few minor remaining details to complete the construction phase of this project. This additional effort with the amendment is not expected to impact the overall timeline, and the project is still anticipated to be fully complete by August. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Council, any questions for Mr. Lepla on item 8B? All right. Entertain a motion if that's your pleasure, Council. Mayor Pro Tem's provided a motion for approval, it appears. Is there a second on the item? Luke Williams has provided that. Thank you for that, sir. We do have another opportunity for questions or comments if you have any of those. Hearing none, let's vote on item 8B at this time. Please indicate yea or nay on your touch screens. And that item passes. By the way, that project has been a big project and very, very well done. That's going to make a very big difference on that corner. Let's shift down to item 9 on the agenda, Council, future agenda items. City Council, do you have any future agenda items you want to share? Toe top, anything, sir?
none.
All righty. We'll shift down to item 10, which is executive session items, which will be in the South Conference Room, 10A, Section 551072, 221 North Main Street, deliberation regarding real property. 10B is Section 551072, deliberation regarding real property, 119 Palapino Street, will be in recess at 6:22 p.m. We will return back to this room in a regular session for items 11, 12, and 13. We'll recess 6:22. All right, we're back in regular session at 6:54 PM. Council, we have items 10A and 10B. Before we call those for potential action, Mr. Hotop?
Yeah.
Thoughts, comments?
Yeah, one of the things, so had some discussion recently in executive session about 119 Palo Pinto Street and 221 North Main. So 119 Palo Pinto Street was more formerly known as Old City Hall, was recently the location for our Parks and Recreation Department and our planning staff. And then more recently, we had acquired a property at 117 West Columbia, which used to be the old county attorney's office that we're remodeling, where our parks folks and our planning staff are going to move into. And they've actually already moved out of Old City Hall. And so that building is basically just sent vacant. And so, one of the things we started looking at is there are other proposed uses of those and just having a vacant building in downtown. That kind of led us to discussion at the same time about 221 North Main. 221 North Main used to be old Wilhite. They manufacture some mattresses and some other things in there. We actually acquired that as part of a property we were looking at when we were looking at the downtown loop. Ultimately decided that wasn't the best thing for downtown Weatherford. So that building sat vacant for a little bit. Then we had a little bit of incubator space in there, and it ultimately moved out. We've done some restoration, which I think everybody's seen, where we restored the exterior of the building, really helped restore that historic look on the outside. But really what we've got is two vacant buildings down there that we thought, gosh, we really need to do something with that, because having vacant historic buildings in downtown that are in the public's hands with no use in them is not the best use of those buildings. Is there an opportunity to go out and try to find someone that is interested in redevelopment of those properties while preserving all the historic aspects that exist for Old City Hall, which is, of course, 119 Palo Pinto and 221 North Main? And is there a way that those could get back on the tax roll and even have some sales tax producing possibilities on those? And so, it's one of the things we talked about with the council is there a way to develop a development proposal that could get those out there, require somebody to purchase those from the city, but still come through and protect the historic aspects that we think are important and really lead to the integrity and what is a draw and such in downtown. And so that's really, I think, what a lot of our discussion was about. Yeah.
Well said. Thank you for sharing that background information, which kind of frames what we've been working on. So let's see, Council, 10A, Section 551.072, 221 North Main, 10B, Section 551.072, 119 Palo Pinto Street, under item 11, which is action on executive session items. Do you have any desire to take action on these individually or collectively?
Collectively, Mr. Mayor. I move to authorize the city manager to proceed with a request for proposals for the sale and redevelopment of city-owned properties in downtown Weatherford for 221 North Main Street and 119 Palo Pinto Street.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Smith, as mentioned and described. Appears to be a second provided by Matt Tiskus. Council, open to questions, comments, or suggestions at this time, if that's your pleasure. Hearing none, we will vote on this item at this time.
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, if you don't mind, just one more.
Mayor Pro Tem.
As we go through the proposal, this will be posted for anyone to be able to bid on those properties?
Mr. Otop, can you maybe describe that for our citizens? Good question, sir.
You bet. So the state lays out some what we would call minimum things that have to happen, and that's really just advertising it on the website a couple of times. That is a minimum of what happens, and that'll be out there for everybody. In addition to that, we'll be able to send that out to all the realtor groups that exist. I know Greater Metro West is a local realtor group. We'll send that out to and make that available to all the realtors and then anybody else who's interested in that property as well. Yeah.
Understood. Thank you.
But we want the key to that is we want to make it available to everybody. This is not just available to a select few. It is anybody and everybody that could have potential in those properties. There's a lot of different ideas that people could have. We want to be able to evaluate all those, when they submit a package which says what their development ideas could be and then how that could add to what our downtown's becoming.
Yeah, the more eyes that get on the packet, the better off we are.
100%.
Better off our
Yeah,
citizens.
100%.
Great comment or great question, Mayor Pro Tem. See, anything else? We've got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Zach Smith, second provided by Rod White. Questions, comments, further conversation? Let's call for a vote on it.
Hold on just a second. I think I made the initial second, and it just went off the screen there.
All righty. Mr. White, would you rescind your second, please? I think Mr. Tiskus made the initial second. I thought something looked different, but when you get to be my age, you don't know what's going on sometimes. Everybody okay if we vote on it at this time? All righty. Let's vote on it. Indicate yea or nay for approval or denial, please. and that item passes. Item 12 on the agenda is citizen comments on non-agenda items. Anybody in the audience who would like to comment on any item we've not discussed on our agenda this evening, now's your opportunity. Citizen comments on non-agenda items. Seeing none, the Weatherford City Council stands adjourned at 7 p.m. straight up. Thank you all for your service.